Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be filming something that is honestly a very big deal for me. This is something I did not think I would ever be able to film because we're talking about my biggest insecurity, and I just never thought I would be able to like talk about it publicly, show it publicly, or anything like that. I realized to a lot of people that this might not be a big deal at all. You guys might have things that you're insecure about that you feel are much bigger than mine, or things that you're not insecure about and you still just think it's dumb. But it's not about other people. This is just something that I never thought I would be able to film because it was such a big thing for me. And so the fact that I'm feeling like I'm ready to be open and public and making a whole ass dedicated video is a big deal for me. So that's why I'm filming this. It's not for anyone but myself, just like kind of proving like, hey, look how confident you've become with this in the last entire part of your life, in the last 23 years that you've been alive. Okay, so even though I'm comfortable talking about it, it's still just, it's a hard thing for me to just do, but talked about it on Instagram. I've made a couple posts about it, so it's not like a shocker to you guys if you don't follow me on Instagram. But this is my biggest insecurity. Oh, it's still, see, this is still very hard for me to do, but this birthmark or mole or whatever you want to call it is my biggest insecurity. Oh my god, my heart's like pounding. Oof. Okay, there it is. Oh, right there in the open. I feel like I'm turning red. Okay. Ooh. So that is my biggest insecurity. Just thought, oh, I still get so weird about it. It's like, the fact that I could show it, the fact that I did that is so huge for me. Oh, okay, here we go. So this is my birthmark. I was born with it, and as a baby it was very, very, very small. It was very, very small, and it grew with me. I don't think I would have ever known that my birthmark was a big deal at all had I not started being made fun of for it, and being called a freak, and called disgusting, and all of those horrible things that a 5-year-old should not be told when they have something that they were born with and they just don't know that there's anything wrong with it. You know, I can't specifically remember what kids would say in preschool, but I know that it was enough to start the beginning of a vicious insecurity cycle. I just remember as the years went on and it grew bigger and it got hairier, because it is one of the moles that grow hair on it, like thick black hair. The harassment about it started to get worse, and like I said, people would say my arm was disgusting, that I was a freak, that it looked like I had poop on my arm, or that it looked like I had drawn on my arm, or that I burned my arm, or, you know, just all of these like crappy things, and I would get made fun of for it, and people would always like not want to touch it, or they would like quiver when they saw it. I think that's why I have that reaction now when I lift it up and I show you guys, because I remember people being like, oh, like as a kid, you know? That insecurity never went away throughout like all my years of being a teenager and growing into adulthood. It never went away, and it got so bad to the point where once I went into middle school, which is where the teasing really starts to begin, it would be like 100 degrees outside in the middle of the summer, and I was wearing a hoodie, like sweating my ass off because I was so embarrassed about this freaking thing on my arm, okay? And I remember it would really upset my mom and it would upset my brother, because they're like, who cares? You know, it's a part of you, it's beautiful, you were born with this, you know, think of it as God's way of touching you, you know, all these things. And I was like, no, I hate it. I would cry over it, and I just felt so disgusting. And I know now that I shouldn't have felt that way, but when you're a kid, you're so easily impressionable, and so if someone said something about me and told me that it was gross, I was gonna believe that it was gross because I did not know any better. I just knew what people said to me. And you know, when your mom or your brother or anybody in your family tells you not to worry about it, that's like not the people you want to hear it from when you're a teenager. It started with wearing very, very heavy hoodies, 100% cotton hoodies in the middle of summer, and I would be sweating, and my friends would say, why don't you take your hoodie off? What are you doing? You look like you're about to overheat and have a stroke. And I'd be like, oh no, really, it's a little chilly outside, like don't worry, I'm totally good. And meanwhile, like literally, that's probably why I still have stinky armpits to this day, because I sweat so freaking hard. I'm just kidding, I don't have stinky armpits, but like, well, no, okay, definitely do. My mom started to help me think of solutions, and we started buying cardigans. Yeah, I owned like at one point probably 20 different cardigans. That went on for a while, and then I would say like in 9th or 10th grade, I started wearing bandage around my arm. So there's no point that I'm getting comfortable. If anything, I'm just finding more comfortable ways to cover it, but not actually getting comfortable with showing it. So I started wearing a bandage wrap. So I would literally just wrap it around, you know, like right here. Just like one of those bandages that like hook in skin and all of that. And then the questions and rumors started with the bandage, because then it became, okay, this girl has had her arm, her left arm, right where her veins are, covered for months now. What's going on? Because I told people that I was babysitting and I was on the monkey bars and I fell and like twisted my arm somehow. But then it got to a point where after months people were like, dude, like, how is your elbow not getting any better? Then people started asking if I was doing drugs and if I was trying to cover up my track marks on my arm, and that was humiliating for me. I wouldn't say it became like a rumor, but when someone says like, dude, what's going on under there? Like, are you doing drugs? And you're like 16 and insecure as hell about a birthmark, you're just like, you can't be serious about this. And so I got those questions a couple of times, and so I got even more insecure. And so instead of doing that, I started to wear band-aids. And now we're in the era of my YouTube channel, you know, just a couple years ago, where people were saying like, why does this girl always have a band-aid on her arm? What is she trying to cover up? Guys, it was this. It was this fucking birthmark that tormented me and stressed me out and everything that you could possibly imagine. Like, I did everything I could to hide it, and I've had 2 different consultations about having it removed when I was like 12 years old. You know, obviously surgery has progressed a lot in the last 11 years, but my mom had taken me in for a consultation, and the doctor had told me at the time, I'm sure it's not like this now, but at the time they would have to graft skin from my thigh, sew it up, remove this, get the skin from my thigh, place it over the birthmark, and because it's in a place where, you know, like literally all of my elbow flexion is here, I would have never been able to fully extend my arm again. You know, this is my arm fully extended. I probably would have only been able to go to like here. Could you imagine? And you know, like, I want to have full flexibility if I can have it, and I opted out. So a couple things about this birthmark. 1, yes, it's hairy. It grows hair. It has a mane of its own, and I literally trim the hair or I shave it down. Not easy for me to say, very difficult for me to put out there in the world, but it's a thing. It is quite big. It's like the size of a $50 and then another half of a $50. It's very, very sensitive. If I scrape this on the corner of anything, ladies out there, it's like scratching your nipple times 10. It is very, very, very painful. It makes me like cringe just thinking about it. The skin is super sensitive, and the skin is actually thicker than the rest. Like, you could feel all the edges around it. I remember when I first showed a guy that I was dating my birthmark, and he had said, I think he was like the first guy that I ever showed my birthmark to, and I was so scared, and I was like covering it, and I was like freaking out. I wanted to cry, and his response was like, oh, it's not that bad. And then he said, it's the only flaw on you. And my mom was like, oh, that is not a flaw, boo-boo. He was young too. He wasn't trying to insult me. I get that now. But he basically was like, yo, it's kind of gross, but like, you still cool though. And I was like, thanks. Love ya. And then my final story is like, when I was in high school, I texted one of my friends and I was like, what would you do if I told you I had a birthmark on my elbow, like a big mole? And she literally responded and said, I would say that's fucking disgusting. I swear on my life, I still remember it because I was gonna tell her. She was like becoming one of my really good friends, and I was like, yo, I want to tell you about this because I feel like I could trust you and I feel comfortable with you and you're older than me. And she literally just was like, I would think that that's fucking disgusting. I was like, yeah, totally agreed. That's the story of my birthmark. What I'll say to conclude this entire video is that I definitely had people in my life that told me that one day I should get really comfortable with it. One day I should be able to come to accept it, and I shouldn't want to alter the things that I was naturally given or born with. However, I will say, if there are people out there who have had a mole removed or want to get a mole removed, more power to you. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that that's the stupidest decision you've ever made, because at the end of the day, I think that you are allowed to do whatever it is that you want to do and whatever will make you happy. But for me, I really did test myself to see if I could go beyond it, because I would dream of being able to wear shirts and I would look at other girls' elbows and be like, God, you're so lucky you don't have this on your elbow. But I will say, if you're younger and if you have a birthmark that you're so uncomfortable with, just push through your teens, like do what it is that you have to do to feel comfortable, but try your hardest to embrace it, because I always thought that if somebody saw my birthmark that they wouldn't want to be my friend anymore, that a guy wouldn't want to date me because I would be so weird and so freaky and so gross to him. And then one day that all kind of changed. I got sick of hiding my arm in photo shoots or in selfies or on new dates or meeting new people or going out with my friends. I just got sick of it. And I was just like, who fucking cares? You know, it's just a birthmark. It's just a birthmark. It feels really good to be talking about this. Love the skin you're in and be comfortable with who you are, and please realize that if anybody does say that you're a freak or that you are disgusting or that there's something wrong with you or it looks like you've got shit stains on your arm or whatever they say, please just remember that there's nothing wrong with you. Like, It's just a part of who you are. And if anybody feels like they have any right to speak on you in a negative manner, they can kiss your ass. And they can kiss my ass too. Anybody that doesn't want to be your friend, doesn't want to date you, doesn't want any of those things, they're just missing out big time. And you're fucking awesome the way that you are. And whatever quirk it is that you have that you're so insecure about, just realize it doesn't own you. It's just a part of who you are. And I just want to thank my mom and my brother for pushing that into my noggin as much as possible. Woo! Birthmarks unite! And I know I'm gonna get some negative comments. There's bound to be some trolls who are like, ew, like, what? This is so gross. And all I'm gonna say is, kiss my sass and kiss my ass. Okay guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope it helps some of you guys out there, and be you, own it, be sexy. I feel a lot better after filming this video. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted. Yeah, rock it, rock on. All right, love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Besitos, bye.